Introducing Wondersuite from Bluehost.com. Website creation is hard. Was hard, but not anymore, thanks to Wondersuite from Bluehost. Answer a few questions about your business and goals, and the Wondersuite tools will automatically create your website or store. From there, you can customize your design, colors, and content, and we automatically help you get found in search engines like Google and Bing. From step-by-step guidance to suggested plugins, Bluehost makes WordPress wonderful for everyone. Go to bluehost.com/Wondersuite.
The following is a GoPowerCat.com and Spirit Street production. You've discovered your link to GoPowerCat.com's PowerCat Questions podcast, presented by Fridge Wholesale Liquor, and it starts right now. Now, let's go to the WTC Gig-Powered Studios. Here's your host, GoPowerCat.com publisher, Tim Fitzgerald.
Welcome to another edition of the PowerCat Questions podcast. Tim Fitzgerald, Ryan Gilbert, Zach Carlson. We are ready for your questions. The question is, do we have enough questions? We'll find out. We could just talk about stuff. We could spend a half hour talking about the Miami Marlins. Oh boy. Oh boy. So much to get to. The Fridge Wholesale Liquor is our sponsor. They are wonderful, they are swell, and they are still open for business because liquor is essential in this country.
They just got new paint and a new sign.
Yeah, well, I walked by. Wow, was that a misspeaking there? Wow. I walked by my front yard. I drove by the other day, and I noticed all their signage was down. I'm like, oh no, is the Fridge becoming Kevin's Liquor Shack or something? Are they rebranding as Kevin's Liquor Heaven? Get into Kevin's Liquor Heaven, formerly known as the Fridge. What is it, still black and red though?
Mostly black.
Yeah, because the Fridge is tough. If your liquor store has gotten a fight, take the Fridge. It wears black and has tattoos. I don't know what that means. I don't know if a liquor store has tattoos. Go get you some Die Hard on VHS. What a great beer name. That is a great beer name, Zach. We got to make that happen. Got to make it happen. I wonder if my buddy Jesse, when he gets his Council Grove brewery going, if he's going to have canned beer. I'll get him to name one that. Die Hard on VHS.
And it can't be an IPA.
No. But it has to be something that fits the 80s.
It has to be a manly beer.
90s.
Actually, it should be a beer that's just a white can that says beer on it.
Yeah. Exactly. This segment is sponsored by Tanner's. They are sports bar on a white can. They're really good. Get into Tanner's. It's an amazing place. They're doing the social distancing thing so you can go in there and eat. Watch a little sports because you know what we have now in America? We have sports, even if it's temporary. We are the Miami Marlins of podcasts. We're quite infectious. It's the PowerCat podcast. Let's get it going with your questions from Wabash Station. Here's Ryan Gilbert.
From Email Wildcat 82, is it just me or does it appear this coaching staff is landing some real dudes for the 2021 and 2022 seasons? Maybe just the lack of other palatable sports brings recruiting into sharper focus.
Could be. I find this very fascinating what's going on right now. Now, this staff, like Bill Snyder's staff, is really reliant on camps and getting kids into camps and seeing them in person and meeting them in person and kind of having hands-on. And yeah, at this point, we can evaluate that this kid fits in our system, even though he may not have other offers or, someone's throwing out an offer. It always seems to be Minnesota's throwing out an offer. They haven't had that this year because they had to cancel their camps. And it looks like they really have dug in and they're evaluating off of these camps that we are attending, that we are covering. Ryan Wallace and Zach was in Kansas City with Fritch too, and guys were in Salina. I think they're putting a great deal of value on those, and they're now seeing some kids they really like. And these are Kansas kids. That's what I really find interesting about this. They're staying very close to home. Now, I don't know if that means that their inability to bring kids in from, say, Colorado or Texas or Georgia to a camp has handcuffed them a little bit, but they seem to be doing a good job in the state of Kansas, and I really like these fines. Zach, when you go to these camps, do these kids just jump out at you?
Yeah, I mean, Darrell Jones running as fast as he did in Salina. I'm glad we got to see him in Kansas City. That was great. He may have not have performed as well as you would have liked, but he's not. He's just quick. He doesn't really play right now the position that he'll probably play in college. So it's just going to take some time, but he's quick. It's what's interesting to me is we see these kids in Salina. We didn't see Alalio in Salina, but last week they offer, Hazelhorst, Jones, Alalio, and it's boom, boom, boom. This week they're like, yeah, let's go to K-State. They pick K-State just instantly. We barely had the offer stories up before they committed. And I think, it may be one of those things where, we don't know if we're going to have high school football or any football this fall. And if what they've shown on tape is what these schools are going to see, and if you're going off a performance right now where you run a 4.4 or a 4.5 at a camp for a 40, you perform well in drills, you bench press a ton. If you look good doing one-on-ones on, one of our videos, if right now is kind of the top of your stock price, I guess, and if K-State's your best offer, I think people are going to take it. And I think it's probably smart for these kids to, commit now. I mean, that a commitment's a commitment. You can decommit at any time, just like we've seen in this, this cycle. But I think that it's great seeing these kids that are from Kansas, especially getting offers and taking them immediately. I think that's good for K-State and good for going into the future, especially when football returns. I think that K-State's always put a great emphasis on Kansas kids, but now I think they're going to get K-State into the game for those kids that, the Turner Corcorans that are going to get offers nationwide. I think that K-State can become a bigger player for the top targets in Kansas.
Darrell Jones reminds me of someone, and please don't take this as I'm saying he's the next Terrence Newman. But when Terrence came out of high school, he wasn't really a good football player. He was a great athlete. He could really run. He had nice hips. He had a build to him. Even though he was kind of skinny, you could tell he could hold some muscle. He just kind of reminds me of that. Maybe he's even more physically cut out right now going into his senior year of high school. But it's that same kind of signing. You find the speed, you find the athlete, and you say, you know what, we're going to make sure he's a football player. We don't really care what he's doing in high school. We're going to make him a football player through his redshirt year and on. And it really took Terrence to the end of his sophomore year where he was really able to step on the field and did so at the Cotton Bowl against Tennessee. That's just another sign of how you recruit in the state of Kansas. You can't just go off football because they don't get enough football opportunities, and now that's really true for everyone across the country. Gills, if you were a senior in high school this year, a football player, and you're going to have a mix of on-campus teaching and remote learning, and they cancel your football season midway through, do you do everything you can to graduate at semester and just be done with high school and move on to college?
Probably. I think I'd have to do that, yeah.
There's going to be a flood of guys.
Yeah.
A flood of guys. Particularly if college football moves forward and high school pulls the plug. I think there'll be a flood of guys that will do everything they can to get out of high school early, to be on campus and just kind of continue it. I feel for this generation. They're losing their senior year of so many activities, but I see this through an athletic spectrum. That can't be replaced in your lifetime. I mean, it just can't. I mean, it's just such a cool part of your life, your senior year, and whether you're the big stud on the football field, basketball court, theater stage, in the band or in journalism like this dork, you lose that. It sucks. It sucks beyond being able to put in words, because it's just going to leave a void in your life that so many of us still remember and still kind of hang on to. It was Gills' high point. Let's be honest. His senior year, chicks loved him. He was getting tattoos on a regular basis. He's had the face tattoo removed. But yeah, I mean, it was a big deal. He was dunking all the time in the gym on the adjustable rim at 6 feet. And chicks just dug him. And that was kind of his high point. It's all downhill from here. Right, Gills?
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
My life story.
Mm-hmm.
Peaked in high school.
Nailed it. Next question.
From I Like Pickles Cat, kind of going off of that first question there. It seems like Kleiman is landing more athletic kids than Snyder did. Is this a change in strategy or just getting more successful?
I don't know about that. I think Coach always recruited athletes. He did kind of get into the scout leader persona a little bit, but they always had to be somewhat athletic. I think it was just, I think this group's recruiting harder. They're closing harder. They're not kicking things down the road a little bit and saying, well, we want you, but we need you to hang on because we're going to look at some other kids, which is never motivating. That's what Gills does with women. Hey, look, I'd like to take you out Friday night, but I got some other women that I'd like to talk to first, and I'll get back with you if I'm available. It doesn't work well for Gills. That's why I didn't have dates. But you just can't do that, and I think the old staff did kind of prolong things. They didn't want some kids, they wanted their commitment, but other kids, hold on, don't commit yet. Let's see how it develops for you. And then they'd be lost. But they are really honing in on talent. Folks, it reminds me a lot of Snyder 1.0. Let's go find the guys who can be players, who have something about them that may not be showing it and may not be recognized as a Division I recruit right now, as a FBS Power 5 recruit right now. But they're going to be that level of player. And certainly they can help fill out a roster and be productive over the course of their career. And really, for me, guys, this is really what it's about. At Kansas State, you're only going to get so many stud players. That's just the reality. What the difference here between Snyder 1.0 and 2.0 is they were losing that next level of recruit, either in the recruiting process or they would leave the program, for whatever reason. Personal, didn't like the rules, couldn't meet team rules. There was a rash of marijuana-related departures that never really were reported, but that's what was going on. And I think this staff, if they can hang on to those guys and have greater stability on the roster, it's really going to benefit the entire program.
I think just from a recruiting strategy standpoint, even from last year, you had Chuck Lilly in, you've grown the staff.
Yeah.
Back when it was with Snyder, Taylor was your recruiting coordinator. Taylor Bratt was the recruiting coordinator. That's, he was basically a one-man show, if you want to say it. I think that there's a greater emphasis on recruiting. Once Kleiman came in with Hank Jacobs, it kind of was a two-man show between Hank and Taylor, and now you add in Chuck Lilly. Less kids are going to slip through the cracks if there's more eyeballs looking for guys that could join K-State. So I think that just, having a bigger staff is going to allow K-State to be able to close a little harder on some guys and, push hard, send more mail, have more texts, have more phone calls. I think that there's a greater and stronger emphasis on the recruiting process under Kleiman than there was with Snyder. And I think that is going to help, just the volume of being able to, put out offers and see guys is going to help K-State absolutely more than what, the mantra was under Bill Snyder.
Yeah, they were always so worried about managing time and efficiencies and getting the most out of a lean program. He chose not to have a number of employees. It was just what Coach wanted. It still kind of baffles me a little bit, but he wanted his circle drawn tight people he could trust. He didn't want a bunch of people wandering around his building. And now they have a number of people helping out with recruiting. I think we're going to see results. How they fill out this class will be intriguing, particularly if they don't play high school football. It's hard to find a hidden gem if nobody's overturning rocks, because that's what high school football is a chance to peek under rocks and see a guy on film that maybe other people are missing, but you recognize that at 250 pounds and 6'7", he could become a really good tackle for your program in a couple years.
Another question from I Like Pickles Cat. Which position group do you think regresses the most from 2019 to 2020?
Regresses?
Yes, sir.
Regresses.
Okay. Oh, wow. I'm still really worried about defensive tackle. Just having the rotation and the depth and having the impact of the Trey Deshawn type player who can be really sudden. And we've seen it deteriorate from Will Gary and Trey Deshawn to just Trey Deshawn. And now who's going to really step up and be a force in the middle, kind of eat up offensive linemen? That's really the only area. I mean, you can say the offensive line will deteriorate, and if it does, it's because they didn't have enough time to work together. That's the big thing about this pandemic, wiping out spring, wiping out a lot of the summer. These guys haven't had time together to develop as a group, so that would be worrisome. Guys, I think they're going to be fine at running back. I think they're going to be fine at receiver. They're going to be better at tight end. Skyler's coming along. That offensive line is really critical on the offensive side of football, but and on the defensive side, I see some issues, but I think they're going to be pretty good. I guess maybe, Zach, one of the big areas I'm worried about regressing is an area we just kind of everyone takes for granted, but he was so good, is punter.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I absolutely agree with your defensive tackle, though. As far as a field position, yeah, I think the defensive tackle group is going to be the toughest to replace and the one I'm most worried about, as far as quality going down. I'm not really worried about the offensive line. Even if the offensive line is as good or even a little worse than last year, it's 5 kind of fresh guys that are now fully in Connor Riley's system versus the old guys that they were with Snyder for, their first 3 years, and then they graduated after last year with 1 season with Riley. So now you can kind of get some guys that their techniques can be built up into what Connor Riley wants. But yeah, punter, you had Nick Walsh for 4 years, and then you had Devin Anctil for a couple of years. Both really good punters, really talented. And yeah, you take it for granted, but field position is critical when you're not scoring.
Yeah. And
giving it, Devin Anctil was able to boom some down the field. I'm surprised he hasn't landed at an NFL team.
I'm stunned.
So kind of unfortunate there, but also, with the pandemic, I don't know what the rosters are going to look like, but I think they might be a little smaller. But man, I don't know who the punter is going to be. And that's probably the position I'm most worried about as far as who is going to come up and who's going to replace, because I really don't know who they're going to put in at punter.
We give a lot of credit to the defense under Scotty Hazelton, but quite often he was able to flip the field, Devin was. And, all of a sudden you're punting from your own 20 and they're starting with the ball at their own 25 because he flipped the field on them instead of giving it to them around midfield. So that really puts your defense in better positions. And it's going to be a big problem for this team is just kind of managing field position. Again, something that's always been very important under Bill Snyder and continues under Chris Kleiman. Not that it isn't important for everyone, but I feel like these two coaches have really made it an emphasis to manage the field position and put their defense in good positions.
I mean, I know he wasn't a coach last year either, but Sean Snyder's at USC now. He's not at K-State.
Yeah.
He was a great punter.
He's a great punting, kicking coach.
Yeah, and that's gone. So now you're going to kind of have some self-instruction type guys that are, they're going to have to learn themselves if they weren't around Sean, or even just around a good punter like Nick Walsh or Devin Anctil being able to teach techniques. So, yeah, I think it's probably the biggest question mark on the field going into 2020.
I'd bring Nick Walsh in to do some tutoring and also teach some guys to play guitar, because that's another area of this team. The singer-songwriter position is wide open, and it went unfulfilled last year.
From Limestone Silo, what is Skylar Thompson's legacy at K-State? Talented quarterback who was held back by a stubborn coach, Snyder, and therefore didn't develop as he could have, or a somewhat overrated player who happened to catch fire a few times to appear he had more of it than he really did. And yes, he realizes his story is not completely written yet.
That's the big thing, is I think we can't project what his story is until the story is written. He's got another year. He's got his most crucial year. You're usually your best in your senior season. He's more comfortable in the system. Maybe doesn't have the same running back tools he had, but I feel like the addition of better receiving, playmaking ability at tight end is going to really help. And we'll see. I don't think he'll go in. I think his high water mark, unless they really have an incredible season, let's say that. If this team competes for the Big 12 title, gets that far down the line, then that's a whole different level. But I think his high water mark, as I sit here right now, is to be a Jake Waters type guy. And Jake was here his senior season, and he's finally remembered. And if you can isolate Skylar as a junior and senior, and he wins 8 games, and then whatever they accomplish this season in a number of games they play, but they go like 6-3 in the Big 12. I mean, if you have a winning record your last 2 seasons as quarterback in the conference, you're pretty good. I mean, that's something to brag about. And I'm really shocked at how people dismiss Skylar. You don't win 8 games in a season with just a straight-up mediocre quarterback. That just doesn't happen. You've got to be pretty solid. Do we all want him to get better? Yeah. Do we all see obvious flaws? Of course we do. Is there room for growth? He needs to make it. But Skylar Thompson was a productive quarterback in terms of wins and losses. And maybe the fact that they lost at Texas and lost at home to a West Virginia team that they should have beaten indicates that if he focuses in on the things that he can do a little bit better, those become victories. And suddenly Kansas State is a 10-win type of team. And, if you play all 12. I'm not sure.
I think the comparison to Jake Waters is really good, really fair. Both have great beards.
That's important.
But going from 2013 to 14 with Waters, you go to the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl in 13, you win it, you beat Michigan. You had a similar season. You end up losing the bowl game to Navy this last year, but going into 2020 is kind of like 2014, I think. Good wide receivers, good quarterback, favorable schedule, I think. You got to go on the road to OU, but I think you get a decent number of games at home. And I think that, 8-9 wins in the regular season is probably pretty fair, maybe 10, but I think that Alamo Bowl target, especially if the Big 12 is able to get a couple teams in the New Year's Six, if, OU and Texas are the top teams again and they just run the league, I guess. But I think that his sophomore year, when they go 5-7, it's Snyder's last year. I think that kind of, I don't know. He had a great freshman season, and then his sophomore season, he kind of regressed. And then junior year, it felt like he didn't get better, but I think he did. He improved. The team improved. 3 wins over the previous year. I think that now he's got a lot, his wide receivers around him being more experienced and also being a lot more athletic and, being athletes. I think that's going to help him this year. And if he can make use of his tools, I think that he'll be remembered as, in that Jake Waters tier.
Gills, what are your thoughts on Skylar?
Last year was supposed to be the year where he really made his leaps to set himself up for a senior season where he can be remembered as one of the, best quarterbacks at Kansas State. And I don't think he did that. I think he had some great moments, of course, but, he didn't get much help from his receivers and that offensive line. He was always scrambling out to his right side, and that was always, frustrating for me. But, I think he's got some skills and stuff, but I don't know if he's going to be really remembered as one of the greats. I think that Jake Waters level, like you mentioned, is right on par. I think that's the upper limit for him, and I think he certainly is a good quarterback, but I don't think he's a great quarterback.
I would agree with that.
Last question of the first half from Limestone Silo. Much was made last summer about the new pregame music and introduction that was in the works. Any idea if we will see the same this year as last, or will this new regime continually mix it up? Also, does the team still run out of the tunnel if there is no band, cheerleaders, and fans?
I hadn't really even thought about that. That's going to be weird. How do you do that? I'm not sure. Huh.
I think you still got to do it just because it's going to be on TV.
Yeah.
You want that for the hype videos and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to design something new somehow. It's my understanding that they were waiting on kind of rebranding everything, and maybe that's delayed now with the pandemic, for the new scoreboards and the new sound system that's coming with it. That they were going to do all new stuff once they had the 4 scoreboards in every corner and the all new sound that completely surrounds everyone in the stadium. It's going to be coming from everywhere. That was my understanding. I don't know if that's still the course of action here, but it's time to get some rebranding. Maybe some charging bison. Zach, maybe just go with that because it worked well in Fargo. I don't know. I think people are kind of over the train videos, even though I think with Wabash it was good branding, but maybe it's time for something new. I'm not sure what that is.
I mean, they got rid of the train video last year. Yeah. I thought last year was fine. It was just they did the countdown and they skipped numbers. Like
that was
the
weird.
The countdown was fine. Like, yeah, it was the seconds were right, but it would skip, and it was just kind of strange. I would have done exactly what, if you wanted to do the countdown thing, do what North Dakota State did and just put it down in the corner of the screen. But I thought that, I don't know, the video was fine. And I actually liked that they kept Crazy Train. I feel like Chris Kleiman's kind of a classic rock kind of guy. And I feel like he kind of heard that and was like, yeah, we can keep that. That's fine. Just get rid of the goofy train video. I don't know. There's 2 things I could see. I could see them, I don't think they'll do the fireworks or anything like they did last year, but I could see them, coming out, doing a big run out like they always have, or just kind of walking out to the field. I mean, if there's no fans around, nothing to get pumped up to, I mean, you'd think, you just kind of come out and play football.
Mill about until kickoff.
Yeah.
I think they will. I think Gills is right. They're probably, they'll probably need something coming out. Right, yeah. Gills? They need something.
Yeah. I mean, talking about like traditions and superstitions, whatever it may be, these players might be pushing for something like that to happen.
Did the Big 12 bands allowed this year? Has there been any?
I think it just goes into your however you want to handle social distancing, and they can't be distanced. They've got to sit next to each other to play.
You think that they are not allowed?
I think they're allowed. I just think
okay.
I think most bands will decide not to do it. If anyone's going to push it to try to get it done, it's Frank Trace. He will try to figure out how to make this work. And if they're not going to allow in students in great numbers this season because they're doing 50% and that they have a financial obligation to their season ticket holders, they could move the student or the band right into the student section where they used to be, but maybe right at the 50-yard line, spread them out and have them have that center section right there behind the visiting bench.
See, the way I see it, if we're going to have football and if we're going to have no fans or limited fans, just take the no fans, for instance. With Major League Baseball, they're piping in crowd noise through the broadcast. And I think that, especially for college football, the band is a part of the experience, especially when you're on, listening at home on TV. You can hear the band in the background. So I think if you're going to pipe in crowd noise, having a natural band just to play, because that's kind of another element of trying to make a realistic crowd noise experience for the viewer at home. That's just another layer that you have to add on that audio channel, trying to play it right. And I mean, it would be tough trying to get that right. So I could see ESPN and Fox, all the broadcast partners saying, hey, especially for the home team, yeah, bring your band, have them play, because play as they normally would. It might be a little weird in person, but I actually think it'd probably, make the experience seem a little bit more authentic, especially for the viewer at home, by having that band there. So if you got to socially distance, whatever, have less band, they're not marching on the field. Maybe they are, do a pregame and a halftime show, just, and broadcast it just for the sake of, giving people entertainment. I don't know, but there will still be TV timeouts. So it'll be, I think that football with no fans and TV timeouts is going to be the weirdest. Just everyone's standing around, with nothing, no promos on the Jumbotron, nothing. It's just going to be the official out there with those little clock and that's it.
And it will be interesting to see if they have to go zero fans. I think they're going to go 50%. They'll just be part of it. But will they pipe in crowd noise into the stadium? I mean, it's not just on the broadcast. Apparently, it's in the stadium too. They hear this. So
for baseball,
yeah,
really,
yeah. I know some of the parks. The crowd noise is there because they've got the beating drum at Cleveland. Yeah, it is there. It's in the crowd noise. It's coming across the speakers. So it will be fascinating to see how universities handle it. I think Texas could just put in a cardboard crowd of drinking wine and making no noise, and it would seem so realistic that it would be stunning. It would be absolutely fascinating that people couldn't tell the difference between cardboard cutouts not making noise and their actual fans.
I actually like the cardboard cutouts a lot of these teams have.
I'm getting there. I like it. A lot better than the Fox virtual crowd. Freaks me out because from this camera angle, there's no one there. And from this camera angle, it's full. It's like,
yeah, I guess, yeah, that's fair. Watching the Royals and the Tigers, they've just got a whole bunch of empty seats back there. And it's kind of lame. But you see these other teams with all the cardboard cutouts and it looks pretty close. They might have a little white border around them, but there was one team, I'm not sure who it was, but they made the cutouts way too big. They look like goofy compared to what they should actually be. Like they're giant.
That's funny. I like the one where they had the dogs in the outfield. I thought that was nice. I'm a dog person, so I appreciate the fact that dogs could attend in virtual settings.
There was a White Sox fan that bought like 100 or a couple hundred or 1,000 of his own. Like it's the same cardboard cutout that he put behind the visiting dugout.
That's funny.
Do you think that the teams pull the cardboard cutouts out after every night and somebody has to go out there and set them up so they don't blow away or get wet?
I would think so, wouldn't you? Gills, would that be a good job for you? The cardboard cutout retriever?
Yeah. Pays better than what you pay me.
It's true. That's so true. It's kind of like delivering pizza, except you go to everyone's house and take the pizza back. It's the kind of the
reverse. Yeah.
But then you deliver it in the morning when you set up for the game.
That's good. You just keep delivering the same pizza and taking it back.
I think I've got some good a good resume for this job. I like the idea.
I love it. Well, that's the first half of the PowerCat podcast. We thought we'd be short. We weren't. We'll be back in the second half with more of your questions from Wabash Station because you people are swell.
Stay locked in. The PowerCat podcast will be right back.
Diets and workouts, you've done the work, so why can't you get to your goal weight? That's because up to 70% of your weight is predetermined by your genetics. So while you've been told that it's all about your willpower, you're actually fighting your biology. Don't do it alone. Found's doctor-designed program uses medication as part of a treatment plan that targets your body's unique biological needs, so that your body works with you and not against you. Take the quiz at joinfound.com to see if Found's weight loss program is right for you.
I'd like to introduce you to Meaningful Beauty, the famed skincare brand created by iconic supermodel Cindy Crawford. It's her secret to absolutely gorgeous skin. Meaningful Beauty makes powerful and effective skincare simple, and is loved by millions of women. It's formulated for all ages and all skin tones and types, and is designed to work as a complete skincare system, leaving your skin feeling soft, smooth, and nourished. I recommend starting with Cindy's full regimen, which contains all 5 of our best-selling products, including the amazing youth-activating melon serum. With thousands of glowing 5-star reviews, why not give it a try? Subscribe today, and you can get the amazing Meaningful Beauty system for just $49.95. This includes our introductory 5-piece system, free gifts, free shipping, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. All that available at meaningfulbeauty.com.
We now send it back to Fitz in the WTC gig-powered studios.
Welcome back to the PowerCat Questions Podcast, your weekly session of information from the staff at GoPowerCat.com. Remember, you should be subscribing to GoPowerCat. I'm confident we're going to have football at this point, or they're going to try at least. Get into the club here. There's a lot of VIP recruiting material, and if you're really curious, it's $1 for your first month. Just go do that. Test us out, $1 for a month. Give it a test drive. And, at the end of that test drive, if football's ready to roll, you're set, brother or sister. You're set. You're ready to go right into football season with your subscription to GoPowerCat.com. This is our weekly questions podcast. You ask, we answer. The members get to do the asking. They were tuning in at Wabash Station. I lost my words there for a second. I got scared. Tim Fitzgerald, Ryan Gilbert, Zach Carlson, your podcast trio. We're sponsored by The Fridge, and this half is sponsored by the High-Low, where they get their alcohol from the fridge. It's kind of like magic. You can get your alcohol from the fridge. They get their alcohol from the fridge. Everyone should get their alcohol from the fridge. That's how it works. The High-Low, great pizza, great burgers, great people, right in the heart of Aggieville. Get on down. Get on down. Guys, we actually covered a lot of territory in the first half. We were afraid we wouldn't go anywhere. Zach, did we over-accomplish? Did we over-perform there in the first half?
I think that when I come out and say, yeah, we really didn't have that many questions, this is all I sent you, I feel like we step up to the plate and talk a lot.
Yeah.
Gills, was it good talking or was it just talking?
It was good talking.
Okay.
There was a lot of reason to keep listening.
Hey, before we get into the questions of Wabash Station, I want your guys' take on the Miami Marlins situation. They keep getting more and more cases, and it sounded like they knew they had infectious guys and played them. What was it, in Philly? What a mess. But this is what you're going to have to do. You have to take these situations, and unlike when we first experienced coronavirus in the NBA and we said, oh, there's 2 cases in Toronto, we got to shut it down. We're done. I think they're going to try to persist through it, and I think this is the lesson that college football is going to try to take from Major League Baseball. You can't be in a bubble. You have to travel. I think we're finding Major League Baseball didn't do enough to put their guys in a bubble. It sounds like some of the hotels they're in are extremely crowded situations, which I find odd in this travel environment. But I think what's going on right now with baseball, they're too sick to play this week. We'll have to reschedule and move this game back into the season a little bit. I'm not bothered by this at all. I think the thing that I'm most worried about is making sure guys are really out for the coronavirus. It sounds like the Cincinnati Reds have, including Mike Moustakas, 2 guys that had symptoms but never tested positive, and MLB still has them sidelined. They had a cold. If they're negative for the coronavirus, they should be able to play. It's just kind of funny MLB's being overly cautious and kind of reckless at the same time.
I think it's kind of funny that I saw a tweet last night that said perhaps a lot of these guys, they played in Atlanta for the opening weekend, and that some of the guys seem to have gone out to have a good time in Atlanta. And I wonder if they decided to join I don't know who the NBA player was that went to Magic City, but when you say good time in Atlanta, I feel like some wings from – did you see a picture of those wings from Magic City? They look delicious.
That's all he did, wasn't it? Didn't he get wings?
That's what he said. I mean –
that's why I go to those places. Somebody
posted a picture of it, and I'm like, that looks pretty good. Like I would eat those wings. But I just think, if it is true that they went out somewhere in Atlanta, they weren't really staying to quarantine. If they went out to bars or whatever to have a good time, quote unquote, I think that, forcing them to sit out a week kind of sets an example to the rest of Major League Baseball. Do you guys want to play, or do you guys want to just have fun? Do you want to treat this as normal, or do you want to actually play baseball and try winning a World Series?
Yeah.
I think the Royals are, taking this pretty seriously. Mike Matheny seems to be taking this seriously. So if there's a manager or managers out there that can convey to their guys saying, hey, it's 60 days. That's all we have to do. If you guys stay focused and are, willing to go to the ballpark and straight home and not go anywhere else, you guys make enough money to pay people to go get your groceries or get you food. Like, let's try winning a World Series here. And I think that the teams that can do that are going to be poised to make the postseason, because I don't know what they're going to do with the Marlins if, you have to cancel a week of the season. And I mean, that's like, I don't know, 12% of the season. If we're going to do like an 8-week season or a 9-week season, I don't know how many days off these guys have, but
the most fascinating thing I saw was that the Yankees and Orioles threw together a 2-game series. Like, they both had off days because of teams having to sit down for a while. They said, okay, we'll play a couple more. It was awesome. Like, okay, we'll play 2 more. And that's what this season's going to have to be. Just play what you can play. Maybe you can make some of that up for the Marlins. Maybe you can't. I don't know. But you're right, Zach. It's about taking it seriously. And I feel like the K-State football team had its fun when it got back and now realizes it's serious. I think other football teams are realizing it's serious, that, hey, we're not having symptoms. We're asymptomatic. But even asymptomatic, we still can't play. We can't do stuff. We can't be social. We can't get on the field. We can't. And that's when they start realizing the limitations of having the infection. And I know it's going to be tough, Major League Baseball culture, to be lap dance free. But I think we all realize that lap dances will have to be from 6 feet away. That isn't really a lap dance at that point. It's a 6 foot away dance. And it's a much different experience, or so I'm told.
Here's the other argument to this. You have an alternate training site for a reason. Mm-hmm. They have a whole bunch of other guys.
Exactly.
If you're out, why isn't Major League Baseball saying, hey, you guys screwed up. You have to field a team. I don't care if they suck.
Yep.
You're going to go get your butt pounded because you guys were too stupid to stay at home.
I agree.
So that's the other thing. I don't think that the Marlins should get the opportunity to say, hey, we'll play all these games when we're healthy.
Because the other team may not be healthy at that point.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You're allowed to keep all these guys in reserve. What are they there for?
Yeah.
I mean, there should be unlimited call-ups and put-downs right now. I mean, I don't even believe you should have a 30-man roster. I mean, I understand what they're doing for travel, but you should be able to just instantly say, hey, these guys are coming in. These guys are sidelined for the week, and we got to bring in all these AAA-type players. But that's what happened. That's this season. I'm with you, Zach. Maybe they have to take one series off so that they can regroup and say, these are the guys we're calling up. We got to get them into town. But giving them the whole week off so they can get healthy and then play teams later in the season that might be missing players that got injured or have the virus and are at a disadvantage then? It seems wrong. You've got players, put them on the field even if they're not the ideal players. Boom. We solved it, Gills. Do you got anything, Gills? Do you want to help us solve this problem?
I was having that conversation actually with my grandpa the other day about, you've got hundreds of players in the minor leagues that would just love to have an opportunity, and if you've got a bunch of people that can't play, who weren't responsible, give them the chance. So I'm with you guys.
It gets in a lot into the contracts and the union and what counts for major league experience, all that. I understand there's complications here, but figure it out. Yeah. Figure it out. Don't be rewarded in the long term because in the short term you're irresponsible. Field a team. Be Gene Hackman. This is my team. We're a little bit short here, but this is my team we're going to play with. You can do it. They can make this happen. I'm fired up about this. But I'm sorry you guys can't have lap dances or delicious wings right now. Here are your questions from Wabash Station as we get on with the second half. So much COVID. So much. Ryan Gilbert.
From K-Ned, please discuss Anderson Blumont's favorite football players post. Who are your all-time favorite players at each position? Of those who provided lists in the thread, do you have a favorite list?
Oh, I wouldn't know that. Let's do this. Let's try to do this the best we can. I need to pull it up so that I don't miss a position. You'd hate to miss a position. Dupe, Wabash. It's kind of complicated when you're Zooming with people and now you're staring at your screen. Okay, here we go. My good friend Anderson Blumont.
Wait, when you're Zooming, do you not have your screen up? You don't have it minimized to just the person talking? Like you actually have all of us up and on the Zoom?
Yeah. There's only 3 of us. Well, no, it shows the main person talking. I have it on me because I like to see myself.
But you actually have the Zoom open big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but now I'm
sure Gills has the questions up, and I would keep the questions up too. And then I'll zoom around for tabs.
Okay, so here we go. My favorite quarterback in Kansas State history, Michael Bishop. No doubt. Just because it was so fun. Zach?
I'd probably say L.
L
Robertson. But that kind of gets an era. Michael Bishop was right at the possible beginning of me being able to remember events in life, I guess. So I feel like L. Robertson is still the best quarterback that I've, not necessarily alive for, but that I've been able to watch and remember.
Gills, in your vast experience, who do you got?
I'll have to go Colin Klein.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm not old enough to remember those guys you're talking about. So
that's 3 pretty good quarterbacks, though. Really good quarterbacks. Okay, favorite running back. This one's intriguing because Kansas State, it hasn't been running back per se. They've been kind of workhorses.
I feel like this is pretty easy. It's Darren Sproles.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of the one guy they've had and he doesn't really fit the running back mold. You know what I mean? Someone other than Sproles, it'd be Daniel Thomas for me because he kind of is more of a traditional running back. But Sproles is in a league by himself, maybe in all of football. Fullback. Fullback.
Io Saba.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know if he did anything. Yeah, I feel like I'm living in a certain era right now. It was fun whenever you'd see. I don't know how many touchdowns he actually scored, but I love when they're on the goal line and you'd see the big boys come out and Io Saba's among them, and it just gets you real excited.
Yeah, he was pretty special. Gills, do you have a favorite fullback?
Not really.
Yeah, you're kind of
come back to this one.
Yeah.
Is Winston Dimmel an acceptable answer here?
It is. I think Win was a good fullback. He was just kind of overshadowed by political theater within the program. I'm going to go with Braden Wilson. He was just he was an old school fullback, just kind of doing the dirty work and throwing his body around, and I loved his game. Wide receiver, I got to choose from my Lockett's now. I'm going Kevin Lockett. I'm going with the Papa Bear.
I'll probably go Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
But also, Jordy's up there too.
Yeah.
I kind of have to go Tyler just to redeem myself for what I said a few months ago.
Offensive line, there's so many good ones.
Your favorite one that I like that we can remember, or like, because like for me, I didn't really pay attention to positions that weren't playmakers until I started working this job.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I didn't give a care who's Nick Leckie. I don't care about him. Like,
that hurts. That's because that's my choice, Nick Leckie.
I mean, like I'm just thinking, like as a kid.
Yeah.
Nick Leckie's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but like as far as like remembering, I don't remember him for his time at K-State. I guess is what I'm saying. Like he wouldn't have been my favorite. Mm-hmm. But Dalton Reisner probably. I know we're going like that's super recent, but at least for me, and for me, it's like interactions with the guys versus who was the star player or who was the best player, I guess. But I always enjoyed Dalton Reisner.
Gills, you got a choice here?
I'm gonna copy D. Scott and say B.J. Finney.
Yeah, BJ was.
That's a good one.
That's great. My backup to Leckie, more modern, probably Cody Whitehair. I loved Cody's game. Tight end. This one's tough, guys. This one's tough.
Travis Tannehill.
Yeah. Maybe we should all just pick Tannehill and make him feel good.
Yeah.
So do you guess from everyone?
Yeah, let's go with Travis Tannehill because he works with
I can't name any other tight ends other than Andre McDonald.
Shadmeyer would be my other choice, but we'll stick with Tannehill just because, by golly, he did a swell job. What we got defensive tackles, I guess, is what the DL would mean. I'm rolling Mario Fatafehi in a close one over Tim Colston and Will Gary. Mario Fatafehi.
Probably for me, it's Trey Deshawn. I love the belly rub.
Yeah,
it's like a shared bond we have with that video and GIF I made.
I love it. Gills?
Me, Shaq Williams.
Oh.
Half of these I'm kind of looking off.
Or did you just Google like best K-State players of all time and just like, are you just in the admin just looking at like stories D. Scott has written?
Was Meshack interior or DN? Doesn't matter. We'll let him pick it. Defensive end, I'm Darren Howard all day long, every day. He is my Darren Sproles of defensive ends at Kansas State. We need more guys named Darren, apparently. Huh.
Was Tank Reese a defensive end?
No, he was a D tackle.
Was he a tackle?
Yeah. Yep.
I'll put him on. I'll for defensive end and tackle. I'll just take both of those. Just two. Okay. Those are my two on the defensive line there. Okay.
I like it. Linebacker. Lots of choices.
Josh Buell.
Great choice. I probably have to go with Brooks Barta, the original. That dude ran around and made so many freaking plays when K-State football was just trying to get its feet under itself. It was amazing to watch him play.
I'll add in Brandon Archer as well. I love the pick six he had against Missouri in 2005 for Snyder 1.0's last game to seal the win there. That was kind of a special, even though they didn't, they went 5-7 that year. Or did they go 4-8? I don't know what they went.
Yeah.
They were pretty bad that year. They didn't make a bowl game, but
5-7. Yep.
Yeah, 5-7. That was a special moment, and it sealed the win. And it was, they carry Snyder off after the game. It was, that's kind of a special moment for me.
Yeah,
anyway.
that was cool.
And I remember Brandon Archer because of that.
I mean, I'm picking Brooks Bart over guys like Semino and Kelly and Pierce and Buell and Lieber. And, man, they've had some great linebackers. Just some great ones. Oh, and Arthur Brown.
Yeah, that was my answer. I was going to say, guys, where's he at?
Yep. Arthur Brown, the Predator. Safety. Oh, my God. Can I pick anyone but Marcus Watts? Am I allowed to?
I don't think we're allowed to pick anybody other than Marcus Watts.
There's been so many good ones. Lamar Chapman would be up there, but I will go with Marcus Watts. Cornerback. Younger guys, go.
Terrence Newman.
Yeah, Terrence Newman.
Even though I don't remember him, I've heard great things.
I am going to take Chris Canty. That's very old school, but man, that guy had some swagger and could play. Okay, on to the special teams now. Your favorite place kicker in K-State history, and boy, there's some great choices here. I'm going to go Martin Gramatica.
I'll go Anthony Cantelli.
Nice.
I've always liked kickers. Like when I played football as a wee lad in like elementary school, I always loved being the kicker. I'm 1 for 1 on extra points.
Impressive.
Thank you very much. The defense wasn't allowed to rush, but that's besides the point. So, you got the Ream brothers.
The Cantelli brothers.
I mean, K-State has always had decent kicking, except for 2001, where they had like 5 of them, and it was just a disaster. But also 2001 was just a disaster anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Brooks Rossman. What was it? Jeff Snodgrass.
Yeah, you're pulling them out right now.
There's a lot of good kickers. Matt McCrane is probably the one. I think that Matt McCrane's completely underrated as far as a kicker when it comes to K-State kicking history. I think that Martin Gramatica always, be the name that people remember in their heads. But, man, McCrane was good.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Okay, I'm going to skip down here to punter. Let's get to the punter. Lots of good choices.
Tim Rayer.
Tim, I forgot to show up for one snap in my life, and everyone remembers it Rayer. James Garcia. I'll go with that. Kind of a little bit more obscure. I mean, it's hard not to pick Nick Walsh because he did such a good job. He was so solid for a span of years. I mean, Was he an All-American? No. Was he All-Conference? No. But he fit what K-State needed. I don't know. But Devin Anktel was special. Just the ball just exploded off his foot. But I'll go old school with Garcia. Gills, you got a favorite punter?
Give me 1 second here. Let's see what Google can tell me.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Guys,
I go Devin Anktel.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a good choice. Kick returner. I guess kick and punt returners are all mixed in here. David Allen for me. No question. David Allen, most instinctive returner. Didn't just do it with speed, just could sift through a defense and didn't turn the speed on.
To avoid giving names that I've already given at other positions, I'll go Jermaine Morera.
Whoa. Man, that was a deep track right there. I like it. Are you going to pick Youngblood?
No. Old blood, no. Tyler Lockett is
pretty good.
Someone who was always pretty good. I mean, Brandon Banks sticks in my mind back in the day. Jermaine Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm long snapper. Do we have a long snapper choice?
What's that?
Snapper.
Trying to think of a name. I can't even come up with like a real name. Drew Scott.
Oh,
Drew Scott.
Drew Scott out.
Yeah.
I am deferring from this choice because I know a lot of snappers and I don't want to make them mad by picking one. It's a snapper for guys.
In case they listen to the podcast.
Yeah, they probably do. They're snappers. What else are they doing? I mean, seriously. What a great way to get to the league. Just snap the ball, get really good at it, be good enough at blocking and running downfield to cover and tackle. I probably should have gone back and tried that in my college career, but I didn't know that existed back then. And do you have a favorite snapper, Gills? Probably not.
Zach took mine, but I was totally going to say that one.
Okay.
Like you said.
Coverage. Mike Eckler has got to be, because he just set the whole persona. Painted face, diving, doing things you can't do anymore. He would just dive over the blocking wedge and tackle the guy. Surprised he never broke his neck. Maybe he did and he didn't notice. Mike Crash Eckler.
I don't know if I have anybody for this, Fitz.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's just kind of, I don't know. You think, like when I think kick coverage, I think guys that wasted a red shirt that don't play any other position, but there they are on kick coverage.
Yeah.
Caleb Pruitt. I think he did play some defense, but just a lot of those, like kick coverage, especially under Snyder, it's one of those positions that's like, you know, you don't have anywhere else to play, here, go tackle the guy. You know, like put out Stanton Weber or, you know, Brock Monty or somebody like that, you know.
Mm-hmm. You got anyone there, Gills?
No, sir.
Attaboy. Does that wrap that topic up? Because that killed a lot of time, guys. We did a good job filling time with that.
We've got the all-time favorite.
Oh, my all-time favorite K-State player?
Yeah.
Kevin Lockett. Guy was magic. He was unbelievable.
I'll probably go Jordy. I know I didn't say him for wide receiver, but Jordy's probably my all-time favorite.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he mixed in a bunch of things. He was a return man and a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And a damn fine human being. Gills, who's your all-time favorite?
I'll go Colin Klein.
Yeah, good choices all.
Because those are my best memories of, you know, K-State football. I was probably, 11 years old, 12 years old, so
My God.
right in the thick of my childhood.
How is that possible? How do I have someone on my staff who was not even a teenager when Colin Klein was a quarterback? What has happened to time? How did I get to be so freaking old? Are we still recording? Maybe we should move on to the next question. Let's do that.
From Anderson Bluemont, of all the different premium seating options at Bill Sutter Family Stadium, which would you prefer? East Club, East Suites, West Club, West Suites, or the upcoming South Club?
Probably the West Club. I mean, you don't have the sun in your eyes. That area is amazing. It's incredible up there. That's probably it. If I was going to pick like a generic stadium, like, how do I say this? I was going to buy corporate tickets, and I really didn't care about the team. I wasn't passionate about it being the Royals or the Chiefs or the Wildcats. Let's say it was the football equivalent to Sporting. I want to support them. They're local, but I'm not passionate about it. I would pick that south end zone type of seats. It's going to be a full bar. It's going to be a sports bar with stadium seating. That's pretty freaking awesome.
I think the only answer for this is, at the very least, as far as location, it's the West Stadium Center is where you want to be. East side, you don't have to look into the sun. South, it's the South.
It's end zone view. Yeah.
Yeah. Suites or club level doesn't really matter, but I'd probably go with a suite. Probably the lowest level of suite that you can have. So I think that if you go up to the fourth or fifth level, you're a little too high. So lowest level of suites is probably where I'd want to be, closest to midfield.
Yeah. And that
I like having a little private area, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's the same thing that Marlon said. I bet that got him. Gills, what would you pick now that you're making the big money between delivering pizza and talking sports? If you could get a suite, which one would it be?
Certainly on the west side, no doubt about that. But you got to be up on the top with the The freezer full of ice cream. You got to make your stops up there.
I'm really glad the alumni haven't discovered the freezer full of ice cream because there's no security. They could just come in and raid our ice cream. What are we going to do? I mean, if we get in a fight, they're going to side with the donor. They're not going to side with the media. But by God, I'm going to protect the ice cream. I'm going to protect it. And Fritz is going to guard the coffee like a you-know-what. He's not giving up a bit of coffee to anyone.
If I did have a suite, or if I was, a fan in the West Stadium Center, I would only use the north elevators, especially around, halftime. I would only use the north elevators because the south elevators are the only ones that go to the press box, and I don't like when I have to wait for the elevator.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll remember that.
Everyone, if you happen to be on the west side, please be kind to me. Maybe not this year.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
You guys think me and Zach at least will get to go and hang out up there?
Yeah. I mean, I think they'll be interesting to see how they handle the press box. How do you socially distance in that small area? Do they then take, put more people up on the outside in the deck level? Do they confiscate a suite, that maybe someone's not using and guys can go in there? Honestly, I think that's the only way I'd be able to go is if I was in a suite with a really small number of people that I trusted, which would be no one in the media because we're sketchy. I don't know where we've been. I don't know where I've been half the time. How am I supposed to know where a guy like Adam Kay has been? I mean, that guy, he's around cattle all the time in Scott City. He could bring in coronavirus meets hoof and mouth disease and give it some rare thing to me before Embath can even battle it. I don't trust him at all. That's a rant. We can move on now.
Last question of the podcast, another one from Anderson Bluemont. If Kansas State University was not founded originally in Manhattan, what location in the state would have been a better spot?
Oh, there's no better spot than Manhattan, Kansas. I don't know, guys. Salina, Council Grove would have been a lovely little college town. Manhattan's perfect. It's in a beautiful little tree-covered valley. What more can you
somewhere with trees. I don't know where there's trees.
Council Grove.
Grove, maybe. Yeah. I think that's probably a pretty good one. Abilene. I don't know. Someplace just that's small, but like away from major cities, I guess. I really like how Mississippi, Starkville and Oxford are far away from everything, and they're in the middle of a forest, and they're small. I kind of like that. It was annoying. That drive to Starkville was annoying and painful because I like knowing where I'm going, and like being able to see out. But just driving down 2-lane highway with trees as thick as you've ever seen all the way from Jackson to Starkville is like painful. It's just like, it's eerie. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, someplace with trees, but not as many as that.
Not a reclusive forest.
Yeah.
Filled with axe murderers and guys wearing hockey masks. I get it. I understand.
But I do like how far away those two places are from major metros.
Gills, you can answer anything but a suburb of Kansas City. Kansas State does not fit in Kansas City.
Let's please Riley. Let's move it to Hutch.
Move it to Hutch. Hutch or Beloit?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Beloit.
Oh, I should have said that one, man. Oh, well.
Yeah. Kansas State wouldn't be Kansas State if it was anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be Salina State, like Fort Hays or Emporia or Wichita.
Pittsburgh might not be a bad spot for it. I don't know.
I mean, I guess if you're looking at college towns, Hays, you could almost see if Hays had been the school identified as Kansas State, it would have worked. It could have that kind of population. And Manhattan with Manhattan State would probably be the size of Hays. That's a heck of a way to wrap it up right there. We just made Hays a great city filled with great college students. But you know what wouldn't be different is both campuses would still be known for drinking beer. It's good. It's good. It's something to put on your resume. This has been the Natty Light of PowerCat podcasts. Kind of fill you up, but then you regret it. You really do.
No,
you
that's
regret
fake
it.
news. No,
regret
that's
it.
false.
You regret it. Don't party with the Miami Marlins. Don't go get any lap dances. But do send me sexy photos of chicken wings. Oh, my God, I want some chicken wings. You know where I have chicken wings? Both Tanners and the High-Low have chicken wings. And they're good, both places.
You've been listening to the PowerCat Questions podcast, presented by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. PowerCat Podcast. All rights reserved. GoPowerCat.com and Spirit Street Publishing.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.